Hello everyone, I am Duke, and in today's video we'll be diving into the lore for one of the factions that holds back the demons of the northern Hellgate, the Hakkapeliittas of Finland. If you're new to Trench Crusade or its lore, welcome, and for returning viewers of the channel, let me know what you think of today's video in the comments below. For those of you that are returning viewers, you may notice a few differences on this video. Yes, we have new art, but I also invested in a new microphone, so let me know what the audio sounds like to you in the comments below. And with the War for the North underway in Trench Crusade, let's find out about the faithful who stand here to hold back the tides of hell. The Hakkapeliittas, light cavalry of the Finnish army, are one of their chief fighting forces, riding out to defend them from incursions from the northern Hellgate. Due to the freezing winters they fight in and the difficulties of the landscape, vehicles are expensive, rare and hard to maintain here. The logistics of getting vehicles to them from the faithful heartlands are a difficult and time-consuming endeavour that many of the armies here do not have the luxury of indulging in. To solve the obvious problems of mobility that this caused for the Finnish, they devised a solution. The Hakkapeliitta forego the use of vehicles to convey them to the front and instead opt to ride to war on cold-blooded Finn horses. The Finn horses are smaller than their cousins in other nations but have many advantages that would make any other horse a poor choice. Strong and resistant to the freezing temperatures of the region, they are hardy and well adapted to the harsh Finnish winter. Carrying rapid-fire rifles and pistols, they are well trained at close-distance fighting. But some are trained as expert marksmen, finding the opportune position before dismounting and becoming a deadly sniper, picking off the enemy with deadly efficiency at range. For close quarters fighting, when their firearms are not an option, the cavalry carry swords, although when charging at enemy lines, not much is more effective than their explosive-tipped lancers. The explosive lancers are particularly useful when the Hakkapeliittas charge down heavily armoured enemies. To allow them greater speed and manoeuvrability to offset their opponent's heavier armour, the Hakkapeliittas are lightly armoured to allow them the speed and agility when flanking. However, this means that the Hakkapeliittas are far less protected than their counterparts in other faithful nations. Orichalcum steel is a rare commodity here, more precious and limited than in other places, and so lightly armoured and faster moving troops were the natural option for the region. While many faithful nations have great forges and entire sections of cities devoted to manufacturing plants and factories, Finlandia lacks such infrastructure. So, ever the practical and pragmatic, the Finnish soldiers became experts at using the weapons, munitions and equipment taken from enemy soldiers. While many faithful armies would balk at the use of heretic equipment and would refuse to even touch the weapons of the damned for fear of corruption, the faithful of the north have little choice in the matter. Rifles and blades of hellish manufacture are regularly seen in use by these adept scavengers, and many a war prize, trophy and trinket adorn the warriors here. With supply lines to the north difficult to maintain and resources hard to replenish, this is the natural choice for many of the warbands in need of resupply. After all, the dead no longer need a weapon, and what better way to defy hell than to turn its guns against it? Pictured on screen at the moment is a Hakkapeliitta by the name of Johannes Falk Kaselka. This veteran warrior patrols the northern frontier with his brothers in arms. After serving 7 years in the forces of New Antioch, Johannes returned home to the north. Haunted by the experiences and things he saw in the Levant, hardened by war and understanding that a return to civilian life would be impossible for him now, he enlisted in the border forces. Falk is known for suicidal bravery, and his long-distance patrols have even taken him ever closer to the Hellmouth of the North as he hunts Hell's forces in the region. His steed Hela has the telltale signs of the terrible corruption that infects all animals who stray too close to the Hellmouth. As is common with the steeds of the Hakkapeliittas, Hela's skin is decorated with holy symbols to ward off evil. The bond between a Hakkapeliitta and their horse is a strong and loyal one. The Hakkapeliittas for their part spend what little pay they earn on holy symbols, crosses and crucifixes to protect their loyal mount from the corruption of evil. These holy icons are even rumoured to be able to hold the deadly Marbindle of the Path of the Beast at bay. What roads traverse the landscape here are ideal places for ambush where the faithful can fall upon the heretics in swift and deadly fury. To divert from the roads would decrease the risk of ambush for the heretic warbands, but it would prove no less dangerous. In the summer, deadly bogs and swamps lay unseen in impenetrable woodlands, ready to ensnare the unwary. Winter brings reprieve from the dangers of the bogs and swamps, but deep snow and the darkness of winter descends upon the lands to bring new and equally deadly threats to the heretic invaders. For those foolish enough to attempt to assail Finlandia in the long and brutal winters, a swift death comes to the ill-equipped and unprepared as they freeze to death in the wilds. This gives the faithful of Finland an incredible advantage on the terrain of their homeland. Using knowledge of the land and local expertise, they even the odds and draw the heretics into ever-increasing dangers. Too few to meet the heretics in open war, this deadly game of cat and mouse is played out across the landscapes that the Hakkapeliittas call home. While many a prideful heretic has thought themselves sure of victory, they are rarely the cat in these deadly games of wit and cunning. During major invasions, the Hakkapeliittas ride out on reconnaissance missions and act as skirmishers. Their main objective on these occasions is to act as a distraction and delay force, to hold back the heretics and demons, buying vital time for the faithful to muster armies to deal with them. To counter the lightly armoured Hakkapeliittas and push past their delaying tactics, the Warforges of Hell have begun to produce greater numbers of tanks and heavily armoured vehicles to attack the region. In response, the Hakkapeliittas adapted their tactics in turn. Their traditional weapons may lack the power to pierce this forged armour, but anti-vehicle mines and Molotov cocktails most certainly are capable of dealing with them. This effectively has caused a small-scale arms race in the region. Heavy armour is first countered by fast-moving cavalry. This in turn is endangered by the use of tanks, which themselves are imperilled by the invention of the Molotov cocktail. While the Greater War sees a dizzying array of constant technological advancement, one can't help but to see the obvious parallels here between the war for the North and the setting as a whole. While the heretics may have the more advanced technology, the faithful will always find an ingenious, sometimes low-tech and high-risk solution with which to outwit or outmaneuver the heretics. It would be easy for an outsider of these lands to wonder why the Finnish don't simply erect vast defensive networks, trench lines and fortified positions to turn away Hell's forces. Well, the faithful in the region, but the Hakkapeliittas more so than most, understand the truth of the matter more keenly. The people of the north are too few in number to man such a defensive line, but beyond that the lands they inhabit are far too vast, their inhospitable nature making permanent emplacements impractical. With this in mind, the Hakkapeliittas have a vital role here to determine when the region is dealing with some clever feint or errant warband, or if the heretics are amassing for a full-scale war and the faithful must be warned. In the past, heretic invasions have breached the region to descend upon the faithful nations and strike deep into their heartlands. Most recently, the followers of Zimmerner attacked in 1908, driving far into the south when they launched a full-scale invasion. They were halted at great cost when they were eventually stopped at the cataclysmic Battle of Vilnius, a combined force of the Tsardom of Novgorod, the Kalmar Union, the Free State of Prussia, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and the Principality of Kiev finally defeated them at the ancient gates of the city. The forces of the north from the Kingdom of Norway, the Kalmar Union, Finlandia and the Tsardom of Novgorod are hardened veterans, a fighting force accustomed to outnumbered, unilateral fighting in the harsh winters of the region. Without these expert fighters able to turn the tide of battle when the odds are against them, the faithful of the north would surely have fallen long before now. There has never been a successful invasion from the Hellgate of the north, and it is to these brave warriors that the whole of Northern Europe owes that fact. There may come a day when the Hellgate of the North disgorges a force far too powerful for the faithful here to hold back. Whether led by the followers of Zimmerner or another ambitious demon lord, on that day the world will watch, wait, and pray that the Hakkapeliittas and their allies can succeed in their holy mission. Because were they ever to fail, the north of Europe would surely fall without them. Which brings our exploration of the Faithful of the North to an end for today. If you'd like to check out more lore on the North and learn about the Hellgate here, click the video link to your left. Alternatively, to continue your journey into more lore on the channel, click the video link to your right. For discounts on your hobby supplies, check out my affiliate links below. And with that, I'll say thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon.